Hello, I am making a video just because I wanted to talk. And to be honest, I actually don't know really how I want to start it. I haven't even thought about any topic or anything, but I just wanted to talk. My week this week has been pretty good. It's been a lot better this week for me than, I don't know, any other week this year. And I'm glad because that means I've started to get to a place where I can be happier. I can be happier and feel more fulfilled in my life. These days, I've been able to build a social life here where I live, and one that's a little bit more regular and consistent, um, as well as feeling just more secure in who I am. And it's almost like a breath of fresh air because for a while, just all of my life up until like last year, I really struggled a lot just with, at home life, problems of just problems from just how I was, I don't know, just from how my life was growing up. It was very difficult and it created a lot of problems for me mentally, just kind of like feeling like I was, good enough for myself, feeling like I was worth anything. And I didn't feel completely worthless or anything, but just I didn't understand how in control of my life I was. And I've been working really hard. And now I feel so in control of my life and so capable of creating an environment for myself to grow and enjoy living. And that's really, really exciting because that's something that I've wished for so long. I always dreamed of having that, not only independence but having that strength and having that understanding to, be able, like, understanding of myself to be able to, affect my environment in a way that allows me to live my life the way I want to. So I talked about social life just now. Um, and for context, in 2020, I moved to a new place, and I had no friends here because, I never lived here long enough to make any friends. So I had to, what is it? I had no friends. I had, you know, I was in quarantine, because of COVID, and I also wasn't going. I'm also not going to college. So between not going to college, quarantine, and not having any friends, I was completely isolated. Completely isolated, and it got to a point where it was pretty hard, and I started to break down because I'm a very social person. you know all of my family, friends, teachers, you know I feel that they remember me as just like such a social, such a friendly and outgoing, interactive person. And so going from that to essentially zero was extremely hard. I i lost a lot of what grounded me through the hard times, and I really, really struggled. And so now, after learning how to process through my traumas and understand myself better. And being able to articulate just like that mess of emotion in my head, being able to kind of sort it out and communicate it with myself, not only with others, has been such an immensely fulfilling process. And again, realizing that I have the power to affect my environment in a way that's beneficial for me, and that I can live my life how I want to, and that there's no one stopping me, and that there's nothing I have to wait for. Knowing that has been such a gift, and every day I'm grateful for it. I have amazing friends, and I can talk to them, whenever I feel a certain way. I can talk to them. And it's something that's so simple. It's just like it's such a simple thing, I have people that I can talk to when I feel a certain way, whether good or bad. I can just share how I feel with them. That's really nice to have now. And I realized that before, with my friends, a lot of people cared about me, and they were willing to help, but I just wasn't able to voice that I needed any help. And so, people didn't know. And so after moving and not having any friends and having to rebuild everything from scratch, I sort of found it within me to begin, telling people that I needed help. I couldn't do it alone. It was breaking me. It was very, very difficult to go, weeks without seeing a single person. Realizing that I hadn't talked in days, just being in my room. I turned to video games a lot because it gave me a chance to interact with other people. Interact with people in different parts of the world, and just kind of be social. So video games helped helped me survive, in a sense. And yeah, I just had to find it in me to start telling people that I needed help. And that has made, all the difference. Because what it did not only is, first what it did is it allowed me to, release a lot of the tension in my mind, just to kind of unload the weight onto somebody else and let them, and not care about what they did with it. Just kind of having that space. If the mind is like a contained environment, and all your problems and all your thoughts and everything's just in there, talking to someone else is like expanding that to two brains or something, where there's now more room for it to exist. So there's just less pressure. There's just less weight all in one spot, and it's nice. I forgot where I was going, but okay, I got it. Yes, being able to talk to people, learning how to talk to people, and letting them know I needed help. First, what it did was it, lessened the weight, and then second, it, when done consistently, it helps create a culture with those around you where you can go to them when you need something, or when you just want to talk. And something that I didn't fully anticipate is that it allowed for them to also come to you. Being vulnerable with someone, from my experience, being vulnerable with the people in my life, letting them know that I'm struggling with things, and not expecting them necessarily to fix it or anything, just talking to someone. It has given people around me the permission almost to do the same with me, to do the same with others. And I'm very deeply appreciative, happy, proud, and fulfilled that there is now, more of a culture among the people that I love where we're not afraid to tell each other that we love each other. We're not afraid to say that we're struggling or talk about something that's bothering us. It's one of the greatest feelings I've ever known, truly. And I'm so much better for it. And I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky to have people that have seen me in most of my light, and know me for, all of my flaws, everything that I've been through, and that choose to engage with me still, and choose to stick around. It's just the greatest joy I have in my life. I'm glad, I'm glad that, I kept going and that I pushed through the hard times, because things are starting to get a lot better these days. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see where life goes from here. Because for the longest time, I was in such a bad place. I felt so alone. And now I'm in a place where I feel so connected and so engaged with the world around me and with myself. I have such great friends, of course, and through the process of learning how to communicate with people better, and learning how to socialize and rebuild everything from scratch, I created a better relationship within myself, and I trust myself more. I love myself more. I'm more honest with myself, and I don't try to lie or sugarcoat anything. If I'm dealing with something, I'll say it. I'll think it through. I'll allow myself to put it out there as it is and not judge myself. And that has helped so much with all the healing that I've done. It helps tremendously to just not judge myself. And I'm just excited to see where life goes from here. Because it's gotten so much better over the past 2 years or so. Better than I could have ever imagined. And it's funny, when I was younger, I always thought that, my ideal life was out there somewhere 15 or 20 years from now, where I'm just living it up, have a good income, have a lot of nice things. And I don't really care that much about money, but I imagined that once I was able to have nice things, have just a house, I didn't have to worry about survival and things like that. That I'd be at my peak happiness or something. And not only that, I just thought that my ideal life was out there somewhere far into the future, where somehow everything was better and magical and beautiful and there were no problems. Somehow I'd figure it all out and everything would be perfect. But I realize now that that the feelings that I associated with my ideal life, I feel now. Even though nothing's perfect in my life, even though there are still things that are hard that I'm working on, even though it's always a constant development. But for some reason, it's perfect for me, and I don't feel like I'm missing anything, and I don't feel like I'm not enough. My life right now is enough, and it's weird to say it out loud like that. And honestly, I haven't said that out loud often, or maybe at all. But my life is enough right now as it is. And it's so cool because I used to think that it was so far out there into the future, but really, it's here. And I'm so fulfilled just living my life and being with people that I love, and constantly working on growing, and not only that, is growing up alongside people. Everyone is growing, everyone is dealing with their problems, and it's not about ever fixing it really, but it's that we are fixed together. That's what I found. I don't care, that I have no problems. My goal isn't to have no struggle, have no, hardship. What I really wanted all along was to have people that I could go through hardship with together, and to have people around me, that I could grow with and learn with and live with. I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky that there are so many people that I can love, and so many people that love me. It's a good life. It's a pretty good life. It's nice. I didn't know how I was gonna start this talk, but I think it went in a pretty good direction, and I'm happy. So yeah. Making these videos are nice because it gives me an outlet to talk about either what's on my mind or just anything. It just gives me a space to talk, and it's different than talking with someone else. It's different than just recording it on a voice memo. It's different than journaling and writing it in a diary. It's its own sort of thing where I'm talking with myself, but also I'm just sorting through my thoughts and putting it out there into the universe. It's really cool, and I hope to continue doing these because it's been pretty fun since the last video I made and this video. It's been really fun. Yeah. Also, something good that came from making the last video was that I had a very dear friend reach out to me. Someone that I grew up with, and we kind of grew apart throughout the years, with our own lives, but still a very core part of me, who I am today, was created alongside them when I was younger. And she reached out to me about the video I made because I was talking about trauma and learning to heal, and she opened up to me about her own trauma and how she's been going through the process of working on it. And somehow the act of her reaching out to me and telling me that, though we have grown apart throughout the years, it validated all the hard work that I've done just to stay alive, just like all the hard work that I've done just to stay alive, and all of the work that I've done to try to build the life that I want. It just validated all of that, because such a big part of why I wanted to stay alive, and that part of me was created alongside the person that reached out to me. Because in middle school, we went through a lot together, and we helped a friend that was suicidal and very depressed, and that was also kind of closed off. And through that experience, we grew so much and we learned so much, and who I am today is completely connected to what happened in middle school. I'm trying to keep it kind of general to not say names. I don't know. Maybe I should just say names, but I figured because I'm kind of releasing it on YouTube that maybe certain people wouldn't want their names to be said, so I'm kind of trying to keep it general. And so if the story is a little bit hard to follow, then I'm doing my best. But anyways, basically the person that reached out to me regarding last video was someone very dear to me, someone that I went through a lot with, and through going through all those things with them, I created such a strong sense of my values in my life. Being able to be there for people, being able to take care of my friends, and not only that, but to be someone who is not afraid to confront problems, whether that's problems with other people or problems within myself. So much of myself, so much of my identity in who I am, conscious and subconscious, was developed alongside the person that reached out to me. And though we've grown apart over the years, or honestly, especially because we've grown apart throughout the years, having her reach out to me, and open up and tell me, how she felt, that just meant everything to me. There are certain times in my life that I've realized that maybe everything that I'm doing is worth it, and that everything I'm doing, like there have been certain times when I've seen the payoff in glimpses, right? And this is one of those moments where I kind of realized that it's all worth it. It's all worth it, because my friend reaching out to me was such a validating experience. Because it meant, I think, that even though our lives are so different now, there's still such a core part of us that resonates with each other, and that's timeless. Not only that, I would like to not, let me think about how to say this. This is a person that I've wanted to keep in my life, and naturally I can't help that we've grown apart just with our different lives, and not living near each other and things like that. And so it's also an opportunity for me to rekindle a relationship and to kind of reconvene, right? Like, we started off in middle school together, and then we broke off from there throughout high school, and then now we're kind of like coming back, and I think that's amazing. And it's crazy how much you miss people that you don't even miss, that you don't realize you miss. It's crazy how much you miss them. And actually, I don't know if that's the right way to say it. I just said It's crazy how much you miss people that you don't think you miss, that you don't realize you miss. I think a better way to say it, what I'm trying to say is, it's crazy how much you miss people that you don't. Let me think. It's crazy how much you miss people that you haven't given yourself enough time to miss. Most of my life was spent running, either running from things or running towards things. And, I grew up in a pretty harsh environment where I was always in fight or flight. And so I never really had time to process things. And one of the things that I didn't have time to process was how much I missed certain people in my life. As I grew up, as people naturally grew apart, you start to miss them, but because you're in such a frenzied state of trying to get your life together, it's like you don't have time to process it. It doesn't really hit you. It doesn't really hit you how much you care about people. It hasn't really hit me how much I care about people. How much I love people that I haven't talked to in a while. It's just wild. It's wild that even though so many things have changed, nothing's really changed at all. I'm still a kid that's just figuring it out and learning to live my best life. Trying to love the people around me. And that's beautiful. That's life. And I'm lucky. I'm lucky that I have the opportunity every day to keep figuring it out. And I'm so grateful for all of it. All of the pain, all of the hardship, the nights spent crying, that deep, deep pain, the emptiness, all of it's worth it. Because that was just a part of me growing up. That's a part of it. And I think that's probably why I kept going. Somehow deep down I knew that, the pain is part of it. I didn't know if it'd, be better necessarily, or what it would look like when it got better, but I knew that I had to keep going. And I'm glad I did. Yeah. That's all I got. That's all I got. If you stuck around till the end, thank you for listening. And I'm glad to have the chance to talk about what's been on my mind.